Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the October 23rd, 2025 meeting of the town board to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Present.
Councilmember Delarada.
Here.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Here.
Councilmember Brennan.
Here.
Supervisor Cassidy Dorian.
Here. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Thanks, everybody, for coming tonight. We're going to move a little bit out of order. We have a resolution 2025-241, which is item number 22 on your agenda. We're going to read the resolution and then go through the oath of office with our new sergeant. So we'll start. 2025-241, sponsored by Councilmember Brennan.
A resolution promoting an officer in the Niskayuna Police Department to sergeant.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Well, I'd just like to say I have had the pleasure of working with Ian since I started here as a secretary, and he is an incredibly knowledgeable person, both in law enforcement and in data and all things nerd. So I appreciate that about you. And you've been a huge help, not only to the police side, as I know, but also to the administrative side. You've helped us with so many different things, and the work that you've done with all of the tech that we've been bringing here over the year is really invaluable. So I thank you, and I'm really excited for you today.
Yeah, I'll second that. Ian just supports the department in any way possible. He is so amazing with his traffic analysis. He really helps residents when they have questions about speed or safety, and he has the data and he helps in any way he can. He has the drone certification, so he could do the aerial views of accidents to really help people get the answers they need. He has run the Shop with a Cop program for years, helping students in need get presents for Christmas time. So he really helps our community engagement, safety. His detective work is impeccable, and this is a well-deserved promotion for sure. Yes.
All right. Without further discussion, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Yes.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
Supervisor Cassidy Dorian.
Yes.
5 ayes.
All right. The resolution passes, and we'll move on to the oath of office. All right, please repeat after me. I, Ian Munger, do solemnly swear
I, Ian Munger, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of sergeant
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of sergeant
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Right. All right. Congratulations to our new sergeant. We're going to jump right back into the meeting with approval of minutes from the August 26, 2025. I'll make a motion to approve the August 26, 2025 regular meeting minutes. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we will move on to our committee reports. And we don't have any presentations today. No, we don't. Okay. We'll start with police and public safety.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. The Police and Public Safety Committee met on October 9th. Under operations, Chief Koshin started with a reminder to all town residents that starting November 1st between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m., there's no parking on any of the highways in Niskayuna to assist with trucks to be able to get through for snow removal and leaf pickup, things like that. We had a discussion about e-bikes. We talked about how we're collaborating with the school district to try to educate parents and educate students about the safety measures that are needed for e-bikes and the rules and the laws. If you're under 16, there is illegal to use one of these devices, one of these modes of transportation. So the school district wise, they ban them at the elementary and middle school levels because they're illegal. We're trying to continue to work with the high school to educate our high schoolers on safety and ways to, just be safe with the ion batteries that are involved in these bicycles, and just kind of working on community awareness with holidays coming, helping parents make smart decisions about what they buy for their children and what the limitations will be. We also talked about different ways that we could collaborate with the county, because a lot of e-bikes are being used on our multi-use bike path that goes all through the county. So this week, we started communicating with the county and asking for meetings with possibly different representatives from all the different towns in the county so that we can all look at our town codes, think about best practices, and all collaborate together for a cohesive plan for all residents countywide that won't be confusing, that no matter where you go on the bike path or where you go in the county, the e-bike laws would be the same. So we're really taking e-bike safety seriously, and working with Complete Streets as well to get information and make choices that are also in congruence with other municipalities in our area. So we had a long discussion about that. Under fleet and equipment, we talked about our community traffic and engagement vehicles. We have 2 new ones, and they look different than the other vehicles. They're black and they have shadow writing on them, so you might see them around town. For training, we talked about Officer Breslin attended crisis negotiation school, and that's a higher level skill training for hostage negotiations. Chief Koshin and Sergeant Mora attended Force Science Realistic De-escalation instructor course, and that's really focusing on the science behind de-escalation and how to de-escalate someone using the least amount of force possible. For town events, our community engagement continues to go strong. We have Coffee with the Cup at the Senior Center, continuing with Chief Koshin. It's every 3rd Tuesday monthly, and he loves when people stop by and talk with him about anything, concerns on their mind, wanting to know what's going on around town with the police department. So you could stop on down to the Senior Center the 3rd Tuesday monthly. We talked about supporting the Mohawk Hudson Marathon. We talked about supporting the high school craft fair on October 25th. That'll be from 10 to 3. We talked about Drug Take Back Day, October 25th from 10 to 2. So you can kind of go back and forth to both of those events on the 25th. And Detective Munger took over this event this year. So that's another awesome thing that he's doing for our community. And we do have Courtney McGavro is spearheading another fun event. It's this Sunday. It's our Niskayuna Halloween event, and it's going to be bigger this year than ever before. We're going to continue having the police haunted house for the kids. We're also going to have like a DJ. We're going to have vendors. We're going to have games. And if you bring in 4 canned soups, you get tickets. And the canned soups will go to Niskay Now for our students in our town with food insecurity, and you'll get tickets to use the games and things like that. So it's a great cause if you're available this Sunday. Under town clerk, we discussed the background check fees. We're looking at charging the correct fees depending on if somebody wants to be a peddler in the town. We do a background check on them, but depending on how their name comes up with, how many states they might hit, or if they have the same name as somebody else who might have committed a crime and we need to do a little bit more investigating, it's more costly. So we don't want to charge too much for people, but we don't want to undercharge. So we're trying to figure out best practice, check out other municipalities and make sure we're using the taxpayer money for that the right way. For fire department, Chief Venna came. It is Fire Prevention Month, so he also talked about the lithium-ion battery safety. It's the theme for the month. He invited everyone to the open houses that will be going on the 25th from 12 to 3. Fire District 1 is having their open house, and on the 27th from 5:30 to 8:30, Fire District 2 is having their open house. And he reminded us that there's a statewide burn ban in effect that ended on the 15th, actually. So that was helpful. Under school district, we talked about VA and Hillside. There was a discussion about pedestrian concerns in that area. Chief Koshin and our planner, Laura Robertson, met with Matt Leone at the district to discuss ideas to make that area just safer for pedestrians, for students, for parents, for drivers. So the collaboration with that is ongoing. And Supervisor Cassidy Dorian also talked about the cross button on Balltown Road that is by CVS on the CVS side wasn't working properly. So she was contacting the state DOT to get that remedied. Is that fixed now or no? Not sure yet. Okay. That's the state. Yes. Okay. Under personnel, Officer Spencer has completed his field training and he's doing really well. And that was about it. For resolutions, we have the acceptance of the burn grant tonight. That was $92,000. We had our promotion of our police sergeant, and we have a license plate reader, Department of Transportation law enforcement agreement that gives us permission to install LPRs and binds us to not use anyone's license plate information to sell to another vendor. So our next meeting will be November 6th at 3:30 in the Schaefer Room for anyone who would like to join.
Great. Thank you. We'll move on to highway and community programs.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. We met on October 4th here at Town Hall. First part of our meeting is started out with our Highway Superintendent, Ray Smith. We're getting ready to pick up the loose leaf and brush here in town. Please check the website for your zone and when the dates are that we'll be doing those pickups here for the loose leaf and brush in the town in the fall. We discussed the basketball courts. Those are completed. We got grant money to do new basketball courts, linings of the courts, and we are purchasing backboards for these courts. All this being done with grant money here at our town parks. Also, we discussed the train station park down there. There was some old fencing that we removed for some new fencing, and we saved some of the stuff that we took out down there because we can use that in other places. So we try to use any material that might be usable. If we take it from one park, we usually reuse it in another place, another town property. Town hall repairs got discussed. Got a resolution for a condenser compressor here for town hall on our air conditioning system this evening. Also, you may have noticed that we got a new roof here at town hall, new shingle roof. The contractor that we hired to do that has done an excellent job working over the weekends on Saturdays and Sundays to minimize the impact to town hall business and early voting, which will be starting on this Saturday. So we want to shout out to them. Really appreciate all the hard work that they did to get that done so that minimum impact to town hall business and to our residents. We have more work to do on the town hall roof. That's going to be the flat roof, but that will be continuing on within the next few weeks. Again, yard waste, please make sure you look on the website, or it also is published in the newspaper about pickup. We discussed the paving of the town that we did this summer, how it went well. All that paving is done. Some minor landscaping that gets finished up by, our crews, and get all that done before the winter comes. Next part of our meeting is community programs. Lori Peretti, she's in charge of our community programs. We discussed a Eagle Scout project. Often Eagle Scouts will come to us here at the town and ask if we have any projects that they could do for us. So Lori came up with a project for the Eagle Scout. It's going to be a pickleball racket, one of our pickleball courts, and we'll work with the Eagle Scout on that. The driving range is closed for the season. It was very successful this year because it was a very dry summer, so a lot of usage of the driving range. And I want to thank our Parks Department for all the work that they do to maintain that and keep it mowed and pick up the balls. Movie nights, we got movie nights here at Town Hall, 10:25 and 10:30 movie nights here, outdoor movie nights at Town Hall. Socktoberfest. So last year, well, we've been doing this for a few years, this Socktoberfest. It's, we collect new socks, and we collected the most socks of any organization collecting socks last year, and we're doing it again this year. And the community programs department's very hopeful that they can again be number one in collecting the most socks. So donation boxes out there in the foyer. We also discussed ski club. The town runs a ski bus for the high schoolers, and the registration for that is open. It fills up very quickly. It's a very popular thing that we do for our high schoolers. So that registration is open. As Councilwoman Brennan had spoke about, our Halloween trunk or treat is this Sunday here. And it's going to be, as you said, bigger and better. Please bring a food donation for Niski Now and come out. We've got the Broken Inn is here, and Boots and Bubbles. And I think there's a pizza truck and lots of stuff going on here Sunday for a Halloween celebration. So please come out for that. Also, we're going to be having a Veterans Day celebration or ceremony here on November 10th. So you can put that on your calendars. And we are going to be getting involved in a new program, a new Festival of Wreaths program. So that can be done by either different departments in the town or different organizations. If they want to do some sort of wreath with a theme, we've got information about that on our website. The senior center is going to be doing one also. So just different things that we have going on here at town. Seniors program, that report's given by Linda O'Brien. I know I say it every month on my report, but look at the calendar that we have for the seniors program down there at our senior center. There is so much activity going on down there with exercise programs, Alzheimer's supports groups, meditation programs, fall prevention programs that they get donated from Albany Med or different insurance organizations. Will come in and give our seniors different ideas on fall prevention and other things. So a lot of programs going on down there. We have a volunteer that does computer clinic work with people down there. So a lot of good stuff going on down there at the senior center. And our next meeting is November 6th at 8 a.m.
Great. We'll move on to water, sewer, and engineering.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. The Water, Sewer, and Engineering Committee met earlier this month on October 9th. And at our meeting, Superintendent of Water and Sewer, Matt Yetto, as he always does, provided an update on the organic waste program at the wastewater treatment plant. We are continuing to take in approximately 13 trucks of organic whey waste from Chobani each week. And based on the amount of organic waste that we've taken in year to date, it's anticipated that we will generate approximately $220,000 of revenue this year from that program. That is a huge accomplishment. It's something that we've long anticipated, and it's remarkable that we are finally realizing a six-figure number after years of working to make our plant a net zero facility. Fall utility bills were mailed earlier this month, and they are due on or before November 7th, which is, I believe, 2 weeks from tomorrow. This is the last billing cycle of the year, and so it's important to note that any unpaid balance after the close of this billing cycle will be levied on next year's property tax bills. As everyone is aware, after the close of the transfer station, the town was accepting completely unused punch cards for a refund. The period to request a refund, which was extended several times, is now closed, and we issued a total of $1,943 in refunds. And I appreciate Deb Harris's, she works in the Water and Sewer Department, and I appreciate her work in keeping track of the cards that came in to generate those refunds. Lastly, I just want to address the ongoing spread of information regarding some water quality issues that may be going on in the town. First of all, let me be extremely clear here. Our water is safe. And I'll say it again, our water that leaves our water treatment plant is safe. We here at Town Hall are aware of the concerns that have been raised by residents regarding what they believe to be high levels of copper in their water. Under Supervisor Cassidy Dorian's leadership, the town is nearing the end of a corrosion study in which we are testing for high levels of pH in our water. We have also voluntarily tested water in private homes, and all of the evidence that we've gathered so far shows that this issue is confined to a small geographical area, and we believe that it is related to infrastructure inside privately owned homes. But again, testing we've done at the water treatment plant shows that the water leaving that plant is safe. We have been in constant contact with county and state officials who have assured us that none of our residents are in danger. And the supervisor, the Water and Sewer Department, and myself as chair of the Water and Sewer Committee have committed to assisting our residents in finding a cause and a solution. But again, and I want to be very clear, our water is safe, and the water leaving our town-owned and run plant is not a concern. I encourage anyone who has any questions about that to contact myself, the supervisor's office, the Water and Sewer Department. But like I said, we are committed to finding what the cause may be inside these privately owned homes and assisting our residents in finding a solution. And with that, our next meeting will be 2 weeks from today, November 6th at 4:30 in the Schaefer Room.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Economic Development, Historic Preservation, and Environmental Conservation.
Thank you. We meet on the first Friday of every month. We last met on October 3rd, and I will agree with Councilman Moskowitz, our water is safe. Regarding the Economic and Development Committee, there's a lot of subcommittees that come out of this committee. They do a lot of great work. As a result of that, the Complete Streets Committee is one, the Architectural Review Committee is one, the Tree Council is one, the Comprehensive Plan Committee is one, and these committees are all spearheaded by groups of volunteers. And they all have a chair, and they bring their work to us, and then we implement it. So the importance of these committees cannot be understated. They are moving forward with the comprehensive plan, and that is headed up by Dart Strayer, who's been involved in that committee for decades. He's been here a lot longer than anybody on this board has on that committee. Hopefully that'll come to a vote by this year, but it might not until early next year. They've done a lot of hard work on that. The Architectural Review Board, that is also at work. That's headed up by David Darpino. He also heads up the Planning Board. That is also run out of the Economic Development Committee. And we owe a lot of thanks and gratitude to those two gentlemen and their hard work. Another very important committee is the Conservation Advisory Committee. And there has been a gentleman there that's been working on a national resource inventory since 2021. Ashok Ramasparanian has been working on that since 2021, and we do have out of that advisory committee a completed draft, and it's phenomenal. It details all of our natural resources that we have in our town and discusses their conservation potential. It really has an emphasis on our green space, open space, our undeveloped lands, our park lands are all small little pocket parks that we have, and the resources that are in there, and how all of those increase all of our property values and really make Niskayuna the town that it is. So I do want to thank all of those gentlemen that I mentioned, as well as all of the people that work on the committees here. Because as I've said many times before, that is where the tire meets the road. That's really where it happens. So thank you to all of them. There still are a couple of positions open on our planning board and our zoning board. And hopefully we will continue to get very active town residents. Thank you, Supervisor.
Thank you. With that, I have a few notes on resolutions that are in the agenda for today. The first one is that you'll see a call for a public hearing on updating our senior exemption. We've had a threshold of 37,000 and change as the upper limit for a senior to have income in order to qualify for a reduction in their taxes. Even though the town is really only about 15% of your tax bill, we're making the effort to push this forward in hopes that maybe the school district will look at phasing this in as well. The number we've talked about is moving it up from 37 to 44,500. I feel as though this is a conversation that's a little overdue. However, it does redistribute that tax burden to the remaining citizens, the remaining parcels in the residential areas. Well, we're going to have a hearing about it. I'd love to hear everyone's feedback. I obviously am really only hearing the senior side of it, although everybody, senior or not, talks about wanting to help make sure people can stay and age in place. So this is a component of that. So we want to start here. I think that's a really small jump. So I don't see it as having a huge impact, but we won't know until we see how many people apply for it. So that's in there, the call for a public hearing, and we can have a group conversation about it. The other thing that's in there is a purchase of basketball hoops. I bring this up because we were able to piece together a small amount of old grant funds from a county grant from years ago. We got some grant funding from the Community Foundation. They were fantastic, and we had some funding left over in equipment. And somehow we pieced this all together to completely redo all of the remaining basketball courts in the parks. So this was a great project that came together with very little impact to anything. And I appreciate the Parks Department and Ray Smith for getting it all together. The purchase that's in for resolution is the last set of hoops that are going to be going into Avon Crest Park and River Road Park. Take a look at Blatnick. It looks fantastic. They had that relined over there, and it looks amazing. The other thing that's in there is the accepting of a grant from Phil Steck's office. He's been really fantastic to Niskayuna. He loves seeing us use his grant funding for our parks. The grants don't always work out the way that we want them to because things increase in cost seemingly overnight. One of our previous grants had money set aside for helping with the train station at Lions Park. We ended up having to use that money for another purpose because we didn't have enough to do the project. Fast forward to the grant that we're in the middle of right now, we've decided to at least take a very long pause on installing a splash pad. And those monies I would like to reallocate to the Lions Park project that wasn't completed prior to that. The resolution on the agenda today is for another $150,000 to help with drainage at the baseball fields at Blatnick Park. There's some lower fields and some upper fields. If you had kids or grandkids that played on these fields, you probably know what I'm talking about. It was galoshes almost the entire summer. They canceled 133 games because of the rain. Granted, it was really wet this year, but that's a lot of games. So this funding is going to allow us to update the drainage there so that hopefully we can get all of their games in. They were very happy about that. It did bring up a conversation about making sure that we're allocating our funds fairly between our town sports teams. Essentially we have our River Road Park and our Blatnick Park, which is softball and baseball. So we've had, it's a great thing, and it's prompted a lot of great conversation about making sure that we're being equitable in the way that we're applying for, requesting, and accepting grants. So we've had those conversations, that resolution's in there. I also want to address some inquiries that have come in about a whole lot of false information circulating. One just today that I had the town assessor, Eric, was helpful with. There seems to be a rumor going around that there's been a reassessment. There has not been a reassessment at all. I don't know where that information came from. Somebody wrote in about a 48% increase. There's no 48% increase. Again, I'm not totally sure where all of this originated from, but none of that is true. If you've had a change to your assessment, the only thing I can say is that you've probably applied for a building permit and done something substantial to your home. And so then maybe there was an assessment based on value, or there were changes to the basic star that may have kind of screwed with your exemptions in there. Those really should be the only changes. So if you're seeing something on your bill that looks unusual, sorry, Eric, I'm throwing you out there, but our assessor's office is amazing. That he's got a great staff. He's very personable. I hear nothing but great things about him, and I only have good conversations. So if you do have a question, please send him an email, pop in. He loves, as he said today, he loves talking about these things. So no reassessment. It's not on the radar right now. It's probably a little overdue, but I'm not even going to talk about it. It's just not even talking about it. We have filed today with the town clerk another version of the budget. So this is an iterative process. We start with a tentative budget, which is kind of, let's throw it out there and see what happens, spaghetti on the wall type things. And then we go, department by department. We have workshop by workshop where we kind of pick apart things. So we've had some substantial changes. I posted the next iteration, which is the preliminary budget. It's on the website. I put a QR code at the back of the room that you can scan with your phone, and it'll bring it right up on your phone so you can get right to it if you want to take a look. I'll give you the high points of the one that's out there. This will probably be pretty close to what we have our public hearing on. The personal services line in each of the budgets is representative of a lot of different salaries that are allocated through funds. We've got 5 major funds, and we have to make sure that wherever they're spending their time is the fund that's being charged for it. It's a separate spreadsheet, so you might see some ebb and flow in those. Those are just based on hours that we can look back and say, oh, here's how much time they spent on, engineering versus drainage kind of a thing. So we want to make sure we're at least looking at those every year. So we've created an allocation spreadsheet. We'd be happy to share it with you. We also post the non-represented salaries every year, I think in December or January for a vote. So you'll see them then as well. But if you see some changes there, feel free to reach out with questions. It's probably just due to a reallocation. I also have a pretty substantial band pay down. A band is a band on anticipation note. This is pretty much the only version of our short-term debt. So we have bonds. The last bond we took out for new money, I think, was 2017. And then we've got some short-term debt that have been various projects over the years. The budget I have out there that we're talking through right now, the preliminary, has all of that short-term debt paid off. The benefit to doing this next year is that we won't have to roll that debt over, which would cost us another $50,000. So it might be a little bit painful for next year, not that painful, but then we won't be incurring more costs over the years, and we will be short-term debt-free for next year. So you'll see that in there as well. I'm sure the department heads, they've actually been really good about it, but I've really had at least 2 meetings with most of them trying to pick through to see what we could hold off on, what we could cut down, changes we could make to make sure that we're getting it down to as little as possible. We only have 2 out of the ordinary increases in salaries. We have 1 proposed promotion for someone we'd really like to keep on the team and is fielding other offers. And it's basically him going from an engineering 1 to an engineering 2. And the other one is a part-time receptionist who is beloved by all. And I don't know what I would ever do if she left us, and she hasn't had a raise, I don't think, ever. So we were just going to bring her up to $21 an hour. And I think that's pretty reasonable. So that's in the budget as well. Any usage of fund balance is for non-recurring expenses. So part of our band pay down, any out of the ordinary equipment that we would be purchasing, and all of the funds we have to keep within the 25 to 50% fund balance policy, which means we are only using, we're only bringing that level down to somewhere in between 25 and 50% of our appropriations. So in a fund, we spend X number of dollars. We want to make sure we have 25 to 50% of whatever we're spending in that fund set aside in fund balance. That's our town policy. Those are the high points. It's out there. You can email me. You can email any of the board members. We're done with our workshops. We had 3 of them. The next phase would be for you guys taking a look. We're going to have a budget hearing. If you can't make the budget hearing, you can absolutely send us a note. You can stop in and talk with us. The budget hearing will be an opportunity as well to have some public comment on that. We won't vote on the budget until November 20th, I think, is our town board meeting for November. That will be the final vote. But as I said, what's out there right now is pretty close to what we would have. minor tweaks, I would think, unless something crazy happens. The other thing I wanted to highlight is we've had a few phone calls about our annual financial report, which is our AFR. This is information that we send to the Office of the State Comptroller. It's essentially an extract of numbers from our financial, usually it's financial software. You put an extract out there, you fill it into an online portal. This information is ideally audited before it goes out there. I say ideally because last year, if you recall, we lost our comptroller and our town supervisor within a few weeks of each other. The town supervisor is the fiscal officer for the town, and the comptroller is obviously doing a whole lot of that financial work. When we put those numbers into the AFR, which is ideally before March, we have to legally affirm that we know those numbers to be true and accurate to the best of our knowledge. I wasn't prepared to sign off on that because I wasn't here and I never looked at any of those numbers until, I don't know, September. And same thing goes for our comptroller, it didn't start until November. The other piece of this that's interfering with our ability to file that information is that we switched auditing companies. So not only if you've ever been through a financial audit, every group of auditors does things a little bit differently. So we don't know what those final numbers are going to look like because we don't know what journal entries they're going to request, what kinds of things they want us to update, where they want us to move different expenses or payments. So that's all information that gets washed out at the end of the audit. If you are so excited to look at this information, I did post a link to EMMA, the EMMA website. I did that because we did a ban rollover earlier this year in February. And in order to do that, we have to give them all of our financial information. And so they kind of post a financial statement, so to speak, as a part of giving information to potential investors. So that information is out there. You can click right through, click the town of Niskayuna, and it'll actually show you everything about all of our short-term and long-term debt. It'll show you the financial information they extracted in February. We did talk to our auditors today because this became a sticky topic. And they said they would feel comfortable with us filing what we have now after they've been through, I don't want to say most because I feel like every time I talk with them, they have something else they kind of want to shift around. But they feel comfortable with us filing, but you should know that it will more than likely be amended. So what's out there again is draft version. So that's something that has been floating around as well. You should also know that this has been mentioned previously. The town is not legally required to do an internal audit. We aren't. School districts are, for the most part. There's like teeny tiny school districts don't have to, but towns don't. The only way that they would have to is if they were accepting more than $1 million of federal funds. That's the threshold. So we are doing this to be more transparent, to make sure that the numbers we're putting out there are accurate and have been looked at by people other than the people in this building, right? So I say that to you because it might seem like a long process going through the audit to get to the numbers that are correct, but I think it's a valuable one. I think it's worth the effort, and we're going to continue to do it that way. So I also wanted to touch on a relatively new, just following up on Jason's mention of the water testing in Niskayuna. We had a handful of homes that actually, I think there were 3 at the last meeting that came up to give kind of overview of their experiences with high copper in their homes. Those homes were the ones that we targeted first for our first round of retesting. And just at 4:30 today, we got the testing back of the 4 that we tested in this round. 3 of them are retests. One of them was a new test. 3 out of 4 of them came in under the action level. So what we're seeing here is that the testing that we're doing with the Department of Health at the state level and also an outside lab, PACE, is finding that these homes don't have elevated copper. The one that came in had 2 testing sites in the home. One was elevated slightly over, very slightly over, and the other one did not test at a actionable level. So I say that because this has been, I know, very anxiety inducing for me, and I'm sure all of you as residents. I'm going to reiterate what Jason said. Our water is safe. We do not have a problem. We're taking all the right steps with the information that was brought before us. This is exactly, regardless of whether there was an election, if this problem had happened, we would have taken the exact same steps. So we're doing all the right things. I know it can get a little bit heavy in this environment, but I wanted to make sure I mentioned that we'll have more testing that comes out. I think we did somewhere around 80 homes. This is the first round. I imagine they're going to start trickling in, and our deputy water and sewer superintendent is going to be sharing those not only with the homeowners, but with everyone so that we can give you some peace of mind. With that, I am going to move into public comment, privilege of the floor, but I do want to remind everybody, and I think it's actually sort of sad that I have to remind everybody of this, but this meeting is held because we are conducting the town's business. So we expect that everyone in the room is going to behave in a professional manner as we are behaving. And that's the expectation in the code of conduct that we passed a very long time ago. So if you have documents or things that you want us to have, we're happy to have them. You can hand them to one of the officers in the back, or you can place them on this table to the side. I expect that no one's going to speak out of turn because we have a time for you to speak and you can speak during that time. The reason why we limit it to 3 minutes is because we've been talking about these topics in here for a month. And we would love for you to come and be a part of those preliminary conversations, but this is not the environment to have a back and forth about that. That's why we limit it. So I'm really hoping that I can count on everybody to stay calm and professional and kind. And with that, I will open privilege of the floor to whoever has signed up first.
Just briefly, Supervisor, you mentioned the fund balance policy. I think the town board enacted that policy in 21. And that, yes, and that was in response to try to prevent abuses of fund policy spending. So that's something that's a check and a balance that the town put in that is important, and we're certainly following.
It's also right on the website. If you go to the comptroller section, I put a link right to it if you want to take a look at it as well.
Dustin Mitchell.
Hi. Just want to say I really love living in this town. It's got fantastic services, engineering services, town parks, green spaces, fantastic police force. And I know that's really difficult to do. It's difficult to do well. I came here a little early. I saw some budget discussion, deeply technical stuff, certainly over my head, but it reminded me that the work that you're all doing is so technical and so difficult. And you're all putting a lot of time and thought into that, as are the people on the committees. Councilman Delarada mentioned a bunch of committees, and I know there's others. All of these people putting in a lot of time, a lot of deep thought into running this town. And that's another thing I love about this town, that people are really doing hard work. And they're people. You all are fellow residents. So I just want to say thank you all for everything you're doing.
Thank you, Justin.
John Rickard.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Jason, John, Elena, Aaron, Jess, Bill, Michelle, and Joe, if he were here. I came here tonight to clear up something that's really important to me, and I'm glad the supervisor touched on it a little bit, and that is the use of the privilege of the floor. I want you to know that I have the greatest respect for the governing body that exists, that runs this town. I would not come here and utilize the privilege of the floor to waste your time. I went back and watched the videos of all my presentations. I don't think at any point was I antagonistic or ever disrespectful to anyone. I come because I care. I bring up the issues that are important. And I think Mr. Delarada said it best one time. This is for town business. And I hope that you would agree that I've been professional in my presentation to you and that I have stuck to town business. And I would never waste your time. I'm not here to hear myself speak. I got certainly things to do too, just like all of you do. But I do think that this session is important for residents to really share with you what's important, especially when it pertains to the town. And again, I want you to know that when I come, it's out of genuine care and concern and nothing more. So thank you.
Hey, John. That's it. So that's all we have for signups. If anyone would like to comment, they can come right up.
Good evening, Brett Steenberg, Consulting Engineering. I was here last month, as you're aware. I was the one who raised the issue, the water issue. I'm the one that's in receipt of the original 6 tests that were done in June, 4 of which came back high. One was astronomical, 120% higher than the action limits. I'm the one who raised the red flag that this town needed to take action, needed to do something, needed to notify the residents that they need to be aware of this potential issue. Instead, what we got was, there is no issue, there is no issue, there is no issue. I wasn't asking you to go out there and cause panic. I was asking you to make a public service announcement. Hey, if you live in this area and you're seeing these signs, maybe you want to get your water tested. That's all I wanted. Okay? People can't continue with no transparency from this town and from this board. And that's the way this whole situation has been. I would like to thank Matt Yetto, who is no longer at the town, for his transparency at the last water and sewer meeting, explaining that he would make sure that the information got out there as these additional rounds of testing came through. I am thrilled that the tests are lower than they were in the first round. I got mine back. It's right on the borderline, plus or minus less than 1/10, well, actually less than a half a tenth below the action limit. Is there that much variation in the copper levels in your water? Absolutely. The water, the copper, you're absolutely right. The water that comes out of the treatment plant, you could drink it. The water after it goes through copper pipes, especially in some of these houses, we got the notifications. We didn't get them until 3 months later after the town had the results. 3 months. There was a family with small children who drank water that was 120% higher than the action limit. Okay, let that sink in for a bit. Why are they doing that? It made no sense to me. You know, I want the transparency. I want this board to notify the public. Hey, listen, if you're seeing blue-green staining, if you're seeing these things, it shouldn't be me. It shouldn't be me reaching out to the New York State Department of Health to get them involved. And I am thankful. I've looked at and read the curriculum vitae of the people involved. We have a person with a doctorate and a PE that is overseeing the testing and what changes need to be made down at the treatment plant. And the changes are in progress. Matt had actually set that up in next year's budget because he knew what the results were going to find, that the pH was too low. It was corroding people's pipes. This isn't because of the people's pipes. It's because of the water flowing through the people's pipes. If the pH is balanced, you don't get the corrosion in those pipes. And not only is it corroding the people's pipes and putting copper in their water, it's also corroding their infrastructure. It's corroding your infrastructure. You ask and you wonder why we have so many water main breaks. You think it's not corroding the ductile iron pipe, which is a lot less resistant to corrosion than copper? It is. It is corroding your own pipes. This solution is going to help all of us. And we need to keep pushing forward and making sure that we solve it. But please, transparency. Transparency. Let the public know what you found. Let the public know about the tests. Let the public know about the tests back in June and what had happened. This is what we need to do as a town. This is what our elected officials should be providing to its residents and to their constituents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Joseph Yekel. I'm at 914 Verlin Ave. I wasn't planning on talking again this evening, but because a couple of things were brought up, I feel like I need to comment a little bit. John, I know you echoed what Jason said, that our water is safe. And again, I think we need to use some caution with the way we word things, because as was just stated, when we talk about safety, it may not just be safety to you as a person, it's safety to your home and your property. I'm part of the test that's going on right now to have my water looked at. I'm not exactly sure what results I'm going to be getting back, but I'm interested in more than just copper levels. I want to know what the pH level is. I want to know what the chlorine level is. Aaron, you mentioned at the forum that a concern to yours, and I'm just paraphrasing, was that there was a potential problem with the pH and the chlorine levels, both of which can affect your piping in your home and your infrastructure. It can ruin your hot water tanks, your pipes. So when we talk about safety, it's not just about somebody drinking water that could make them sick. And if we know that we've got a pH problem, for example, in the town water supply that's damaging hundreds of homes, pipes, the answer isn't to tell everybody every 3 or 4 years, replace all your pipes and replace your hot water tanks. The answer is fix the water problem. So that's really what we're getting at here. It's not necessarily just the human consumption problem, it's others. So that's all I wanted to bring up on that. So when we get the results back, what I'm hoping that we see from the town is it's more than just copper levels, because there's many more elements in the water than just the copper. So that's my concern with that. The other thing is just a quick comment on, I know that we do these meetings and at the town board meeting, you're presenting resolutions, but you also have to understand that people are not available to be going to the committee meetings and things. And this meeting, the town meeting, is where we're supposed to be coming together when we want to, so we can bring an issue up, we can talk about things, and you may have already talked about it 10 times, but people that are in the rank and file residents don't know all these conversations, and they want to be part of the conversation now, and this is where they do it. So I almost feel like, the 3 minutes is, well, this isn't the time to talk. And of course, you could speak back to me or somebody else if you wanted to. That's totally up to you. The other thing I wanted to touch on just briefly is also, you talked about the audits. When we talk about audits and whether or not it's required by the town, it's a good check and balance. I think audits are really important, and whether or not the town has to do it, for not only for transparency, but just to double check, you should be looking at those things, and that kind of information should be freely available. I don't think I've ever seen anything in writing on the town website, for example, on what the fund balance percentage is that you currently have as a policy. To me, that's good information. There's a lot of things I like to see, and I end up foiling information because I can't find it, and I want it. And I also don't want to have to wait too long to get that, because if you guys are working and dealing with it regularly, it should be readily available. So that's all. I believe if more information is available, more questions are answered, and people have more assurances about what's going on at town hall. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Linda Rizzo, 2229 Fairlawn Parkway. I just want to make mention, testing 80 homes statistically, if you know anything about statistics, cannot prove there's no problem. My pH level was normal when tested. An outside testing firm showed it is not normal. The pH level is high, higher than it should be. So I'm going to have to pay again to have it tested at my own expense. If the problem is at the water treatment plant with the pH level, it is the town's problem. It is not the problem of people with copper pipes. I mean, that's just the logical conclusion. So saying it's in the homes and it's the people with the copper pipes, that's not true. The other thing that I want to say is, Jason, since you've been in charge of the water and sewer department, we have gone from one chaos to another, one chaotic situation. The high water bills, resolution that you put in your committee that died. So it's been one thing after another. You've actually not been part of the solution, you've been part of the problem. And as far as being an independent voice, I have to question this, because all your affirmative votes are not pro-taxpayer. In my opinion, and I know you won because you were put up to run against Denise McGraw, who care deeply about this community, who is competent, intelligent, educated, politically in tune with the needs of the residents. Qualities, unfortunately, you are sorely lacking. If she were on the board, none of this would be going on. the residents would be told the truth. She would be at their homes. She would be taking the water samples to be tested. I'm going to make an independent statement right now as a Republican. If I had a choice of voting for you as a so-called Republican or voting for Denise McGraw as a Democrat, my vote would go always to Denise. In my opinion, you go with the wind. If the Democrats can benefit you, there's your allegiance. If the Republicans can benefit you, there's your allegiance. That's not being independent, Jason. You're just being wishy-washy. And as far as the public input goes this evening, we are the town business, Aaron. Hearing from us is the town business. We pay for this building. We pay your salary. We are the town business, the taxpayers, and we need someone up there who will recognize we are the town's business. And I think it's a shame how the Steenbergs have been demeaned. I'm sorry. You said, Jason, that they communicated with you and you sent out multiple correspondence to them. They have evidence that that's not true. I'm sorry. Then you're saying they're liars? That you were constantly in contact with them? That's not the case. I just wish we could get honest answers here. But yes, as a Republican, if I had to vote for you or Denise McGraw, who's a moderate Democrat, my vote would go to Denise, not to a so-called Republican.
Anyone else?
Name is John Greenfall. My wife and I have been residents of Niskayuna for 46 years. Our kids went through the Niskayuna school system, and we are both very proud, and well, 4 of us are very proud of our Niskayuna background. First thing I want to do is compliment the town for becoming a bronze level climate smart community, which is a great achievement. There are somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 towns, villages, cities, counties in New York State, and only 165 are bronze level climate smart communities. And a month ago, Niskayuna became one. And thanks to the leadership shown by you all, we're now in that elite group. So thank you. Second thing I want to say was I was an environmental attorney for 42 years, a chunk of that time with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, and worked through countless issues akin to the one that's being discussed tonight. And the one thing I want to echo based on my experience is science always leads the way. Lawyers could do nothing. Division directors, which I became, and a policymaker, which I became, could do nothing without the technicians, the engineers, the geologists, the hydrogeologists, the chemists, who gave us the information to be able to take the action that we wanted and needed to take. And so, echoing the sentiments that you expressed, that science and technical information is at the foundation of any decision-making resonates with me. The other thing I'd like to say is that I had never met the supervisor before. I'm on the board of the New York League of Conservation Voters, and she sought our endorsement and went through a fairly rigorous vetting process, filling out a lengthy questionnaire, and then appearing before us for an interview. And I was struck, and I should say that she won the endorsement of the New York League of Conservation Voters, which enthusiastically supports her. I was struck by her drive, her commitment, her action-oriented approach, her dedication, and something else came through, which is really not a criterion for our endorsement, but it was compassion and concern for the people who might be affected in this town by environmental or public health situations. And I can only say, and my red light's blinking, that if I had had the degree of compassion and concern when I was a public official that the supervisor demonstrated to me during that interview process, I would have been a much better leader, public official, and person. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak?
Good evening. My name is Thomas Nicky. I owe you all money for a dog park permit. Sorry about that. I just realized that today. As I review the candidates for Niskayuna Town Board, a communications professional, the pre-vocational specialist, a civil engineer, and the dean of a college, I don't see any shortage of intelligence or potential. I see a shortage of time. And therein lay our real problem. We expect part-time people to lead and solve the problems of a full-time town. Part-time people can't create full-time relationships with the state. We'll need those to get a timely fix on Route 7. Part-time people can't fix our water billing issues. They didn't have the time to truly understand them the first time around. They trusted others. They rubber-stamped the vote. Incidentally, they're the result of decades of part-time people not moving proactively on infrastructure. And part-time people can't truly scrutinize the budget. There are about 2,000 lines in there. You can't do the deep dive required and have the long and hard conversations needed after dinner. The change we need is not from one political party to another. We need to change our town board from 80% part-time to 100% full-time. Imagine not only what wouldn't be missed, but what more could be found with 5 hard chargers. This change won't happen before this election, but can certainly happen before the next one. Making this change make sense. Failing to make it will cost dollars. Now, I'd like to take this opportunity to address all of our 2025 town board candidates, some of whom are in the room. To qualify, I align with neither party. I consider myself to be a centrist. I believe we have a moral responsibility to take care of those less fortunate, but a financial responsibility to make sure we don't burden others to do so. I foresee myself voting for candidates from both parties. To the candidates, and those hopefully who are listening or watching online, you have to show up, you have to speak up, and you have to lead better than you've been led. Per showing up, there have been 15 regular and special town board meetings this year. Over a third of them have taken place without at least one board member in attendance. Challenging as it may be, you have to be willing to say no to everything else to say yes to leadership. And if you can't, then you're not a right fit. I was truly disappointed when our town board approved last year's budget with only 4 members in attendance. Per speaking up, and this Joe Yekel just mentioned a bit, year to date, we've had 227 resolutions up for vote. Every one of them passed. 226 of those 227 were passed unanimously. That's 1,000 or more than 1,000 ayes, and there was 1 single nay. With minimal discussion or explanation. Last month, every resolution passed unanimously. There was not 1 single word of discussion in the voting. It was done in under 12 minutes. And regardless of the behind-the-scenes discussion, the optic is literally the definition of rubber stamp. And I beg the candidates who are running and those who remain on this board after the election to change this. And as per leading better than you've been led, the former president said the successful leader does not talk down to people, he lifts them up. I ask you remember this, as some who lead your parties seem to have forgotten it, and it's hurting this town. Outside of the persistent negatives on social media, month after month, they come here. They shout at people sitting in the same seats you want to sit in, some who they previously supported. They demand respect and offer none. Remember these 2 things, candidates. Number 1, you treat people the way you want to be treated. And number 2, the loudest one in the room is the weakest one in the room. I know some of you are embarrassed by your party leadership and their behavior. I am with you. I want you to know there are others who are with you too. We know that you are not them, and that if you win, it will be despite them, not because of them. If you win, please lead better than you've been led. As you heard me say earlier, I think our real challenge is time. I considered running for this board myself, and told both John and Aaron this many months ago, but I can't give it the time it deserves. Instead, I joined the Complete Streets Committee. I plan to work with the other committee members to improve that part of our town. We have schools that do not have school speed zones. We can generate revenue through speeding ticket cameras that pay for themselves. And of course, we need to fix Route 7's issues because it literally is life and death. We will present the board items, and while I hope they're approved, I won't want them rubber stamped. They'll be worthy of discussion and even dissension. And lastly, if you're sitting out there now, either here or watching online, instead of going on Facebook to complain or writing a scathing letter to the editor, please go to the Town of Niskayuna's website and apply to serve. There are openings for members on the Board of Assessment Review Committee, the Conservation Advisory Council, the Tree Council, the Historic Preservation Committee, and the Comprehensive Plan Committee. Don't sit and bitch. Fix it. Good luck to all the candidates, and thank you to all who serve our town.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak?
Good evening. My name's Haney Santana, 815 Trottingham Drive. I just want to address the water issue, the statement that it's safe. I have friends that live on Aqueduct Road in those really expensive apartments, and the water in their shower floor, the water's turning the brown. Their shower floor is turning brown. So there is some issue with the water, and you just cannot say that it's safe. And as for town business, anyone coming up here to speak is the town's business and should be greeted with respect instead of being mocked or laughed at or bullied. Just now, Jason's looking at me and mouthing stuff to me. I don't know what he's talking about, but I don't appreciate it because I'm sitting here listening to everyone speak. Like the gentleman said from the broken in, things get rubber stamped, passed through, and no one has a discussion. Aaron, I am still waiting for the water test that was done a couple of weeks ago. The guys did come to my home to do the pH. Okay. And my own home test, when I did it, was high. They had it at like just above high or whatever. It's like right at the line for the pH. But I've gone through 3 water heaters within the past 10 years, and all the water heaters are rusted, like corroded right on the bottom. It flooded to the lower level when it went last time. So there is a problem with the water, and it's really is not safe. And you really should simply admit there's a problem. You're trying to fix it, but you shouldn't make residents feel that it's their fault. It's not their fault. And that's something that this board has not done, has not shown compassion to those residents. The person I'm talking about on Aqueduct Road was afraid to come here tonight because they don't want people to harass them, to talk about brown staining on the shower floor. So other people have problems, but some of them are just keeping it to themselves because of the attitudes that are out here. That's it. That's all I just got to say for you tonight.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Allison Marinucci. I'm at 2280 Nelson Drive. Also, for the sake of transparency, I am the new chair for the Niskayuna Democrats. I say that because I am trying to get involved. I have an existential crisis at the national level, which unfortunately seems to be dripping its way down to local. And what I mean by that is a culture of mistrust and a culture of confrontation. I am disappointed to see some people in this community who come to these meetings month after month and use this as a way to play political theater, invoking a past board member who was not reelected. The residents did not reelect this individual. They spoke. So I'm not sure why that person's name is being invoked over and over again several years later. And I also want to mention that person who was invoking used to be on the Democratic committee before they went over to the Republican side. So people are playing games. People are using this as political theater. I do not want to minimize people's concerns. We have issues in this town, and I think that we have to have serious responsibility people to solve them. However, naively, I'd like to think at a local level, we don't have those federal differences that divide us. We're talking about our parks, we're talking about our police, we're talking about our highways. There shouldn't be this much discourse and nastiness. I'm a solution-oriented person. That's why I've chosen to get involved. It's been really upsetting to see some of this play out. I don't have the taste for it. I just don't. But I will always speak honestly and from the heart. And I just wanted to say that because I was disappointed to hear that. And I do want to say to Mr. Rickard, you have not done anything negative. I haven't seen anything on the privilege of the floor that would say that. So I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Nora Galto, 1049 Palmer Avenue, longtime Niskuna resident. I wasn't planning on speaking either, but I just wanted to say that tonight's budget workshop I found very helpful. Things that were on this workshop that I didn't see in the other prior workshops was a lot of explanation, a lot of good discussion. It helped me a lot, so I appreciate that. Now this is the nerdy part of me. To me, auditing is really important, and financial reporting is very important. And knowing it's a lot of money, where it's going and how it's going, and the mindset for those expenditures. And so I think internal audit is optional. I think you're right. But an external audit, I don't believe is optional. I think it has to be done on time. This was, I think, the first year that I could see where Niskuna was, and I know there were circumstances, but hopefully it's the last year where it was that delinquent, because it helps to see those numbers. And we have unaudited numbers now, and I appreciate the fact that you've got the budget out there. And on your website now, the controller has put in under her area a lot of good financial fiscal monitoring from the controller's office, all of those things. We can take your numbers and kind of plug them in and see how healthy we are or not. Anyway, I want to thank you for what you have done with the budget workshops now, and we'll see what happens later. But I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nora. Anyone else? Okay, with that, I will close privilege of the floor. I'm sorry, Linda.
Yes, I just want to clarify it again. Linda Rizzo. Yes, I was a Democratic committeeman, Allison. This happened 4 years ago. I've been a Republican my whole life, and I was part of the committee. I just want to say this. My statements about Denise McGraw is something that I feel
Linda, this isn't
was
about you.
important to say,
This is
because
definite.
and I just want to say it,
Your phone
she
went off
was
several
well
times, and you
respected.
Let that happen. As usual, you're interrupting town business.
I'm not interrupting town
are.
business. My name was brought up.
No one said your name at all.
She
at
was
all.
referring to me. People knew who I was. I have a right to say it. And residents are never interrupting town business. We are the town business. Thank you.
And with that, I will close privilege of the floor and we'll move on to resolutions. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight and sharing your thoughts.
I just one or two comments. I want to thank Mr. Greenfeld for his comments, and I do appreciate, and I'm very proud that our town is a climate smart community. I'd like to take a lot of credit for that, only because I hired our town planner about 12 years ago, and she is the one responsible for really moving us in that direction. So I want to thank our town planner, Laura Robertson, and also the town board, all the town boards during that time period, and supervisors. But thank you for noticing that. I appreciate it.
I would just like to do a quick reminder for everyone that if you want to talk to any of us, we are available. I know the meeting times, I'm a working mom. We're not all available at the committee meeting times, and we understand that. We have emails through the town. I give my phone number out to anyone who wants it, really. I'll meet you for lunch. I'll come over after dinner. We can meet at Starbucks. We're all very flexible with meeting anyone and having any discussion. If you can't make a committee meeting, I just want to make sure everyone knows that we're available for all of that.
Okay.
But Mr. Nicky is right. The optics are bad. All of our work is done really in the committees, and the committees are not here in the town boardroom. So optically, I do agree with Mr. Nicky. That's something that we could try to work on. Thank you.
Okay. Try this again. 2025-228, sponsored by Councilmember Moskowitz. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution establishing a stipend for the acting superintendent of water and sewer.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
I need to apologize because I was ill earlier this week and I knew I was going to send you more information than maybe we needed, but I
think I have
did. Yeah, you have for the stipend?
Oh,
Oh, no,
okay.
about the stipend, because I had said I was going to send down information and I didn't. I just went through it with Janet, who was able to pull up what we had talked about. So I hope it was okay in here. And I apologize for not sending you any additional information earlier this week, but any other discussion on the stipend?
I just want to clarify exactly what this resolution entails. I think we discussed it at agenda or finance.
Yeah, fine.
It's a stipend to compensate our employees who step up and take a leadership position in the absence of that department head. Obviously, that person is taking on a larger responsibility, a larger role within that department. And I think anybody would want to be fairly compensated for that greater role that they're taking. So this is just to ensure that our employees are fairly compensated for any additional responsibility they may take on.
All right. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
Supervisor Cassidy Dorian.
Yes.
5 ayes.
The resolution passes. 2025-229, sponsored by Supervisor Cassidy Dorian.
A resolution calling for a public hearing on the preliminary budget of the town of Niskayuna for 2026 and a public hearing regarding the potential change to the town's senior and disability property tax exemption.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
This is what I discussed earlier. The preliminary budget will be what this hearing is at, and you'll have a chance to come up and talk through any concerns that you might have before we pass it. I would say it's probably, if you need more information or you want to talk with us about it, reach out like tomorrow. Let's talk earlier rather than right when we're at the moment, because then we're better apt to, we can look things up and research them and figure out your question before we're in the moment. And we will have some time from the 6th, I think is when this is on there,
Yes.
to the 20th until it's passed. So there'll be time in between, but you don't have to wait. You can definitely come and chat with us if you have questions about what's posted. And then the senior exemption was that phase-in piece that I had discussed earlier about getting that started at the town level. Any other discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
Supervisor Cassidy Dorian.
Yes.
5 ayes.
The resolution passes on to 2025-230, sponsored by Councilmember Brennan.
A resolution by the town of Niskayuna granting permission upon the New York State Department of Transportation approval to the Niskayuna Police Department to install license plate reader equipment within geographical jurisdiction of the town of Niskayuna and the state of New York.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on this? This was for the readers on 7?
Yes, it's to,
146.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. That makes more sense. Okay.
it's
this
an
is just
agreement that we won't utilize it information for
bad
other
things.
purposes.
I don't know what we were doing, but we won't do that. All right. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
Supervisor Cassidy Dorian.
The resolution passes.
Michelle, I just want to note that this one requires a municipal certification statement from you,
Okay.
that if you can work with the chief to make sure he gets that.
Yep.
Thank you.
I will.
All right, 2025-231, sponsored by Supervisor Cassidy Dorian.
A resolution appointing a student worker.
I think I talked about this earlier. So the purpose of this student worker, the supervisor's office sometimes has an intern that comes in over the summer. We didn't. I gave that money to another department, but we did have some funding left over in shared services. So we're going to utilize those funds to bring in a high schooler who's going to work really cheaply to help us with the changeover from our water billing structure. We have to add some manual information from building permits in there. So it's a really arduous process, and I don't want to rely on our water billing clerk to have enough time to do it. So I think this is a good use of money, and we have some youth employment, and she's a very intelligent person that I'm sure we're going to give many other tasks to do while she's here. But that'll at least get us to where we need to be to switch up the structure.
Did we have a second?
No, I'm sorry. Can I have a second?
Second.
And any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
Supervisor Cassidy Dorian.
Yes.
5 ayes.
The resolution passes on to 2025-232, sponsored by Councilmember Delarada.
A resolution appointing a regular member to the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on this?
Just want to briefly thank the members that are leaving us, William Stein for his service and Vincent Daly for his service as well. They're being replaced by 2 volunteers, Jim Helios and John Daly. These are the people that will give us the information to make these decisions. And I agree with one of our speakers a great deal. Show up at these committee meetings, because your input at those committee meetings will get transferred to this meeting and it will get acted on. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
Supervisor Cassidy Dorian.
Yes.
5 ayes.
The resolution passes on to 2025-233, sponsored by Councilmember Brennan.
A resolution accepting the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Grant Assistant Award.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on this? This was the additional money we got, right?
This is an additional $92,000.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. So we had the $500,000 that we got from the Byrne grant. Then Chief Koshan reapplied and we were able to get $92,000 more, which is fantastic because it's money that we've never gotten as a town before. So really excited for that. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
Supervisor Cassidy Dorian.
Yes.
5
Um,
ayes.
Just briefly on that last resolution, I don't think a lot of our residents understand. The town taxes themselves have not gone up a great deal, but our expenses have. So why haven't the town taxes? Because of these grants that our grant writers are writing and that we're getting from the state and federal government. They are a big contributor to the town's economic development and the town's infrastructure. So that really is key. Thank you.
And a shout out to Chief Koshan for writing his own grants, and we're over $1 million in grants under his leadership. So it's really, really great.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Did we get a second? We did, right?
Yep.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
Supervisor Cassidy Dorian.
Yes.
5 ayes.
Resolution passes on to 2025-234, sponsored by Councilmember McPartlin.
A resolution authorizing repairs to an air compressor at Town Hall.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Just a note, it's the actual packet here as Councilmember Moskowitz, but you did read it correctly. Is yours?
It was changed on the agenda, but the packet was
Packet.
already
Okay.
printed, so I didn't want to.
No problem.
Okay.
I'll change it when I send it to you for certification.
Thank you.
Nothing gets over you, huh, Bill?
Yeah, I read this stuff, John. So information we had, this is for our compressor condensers for the air conditioning system here at Town Hall. We got some work done on them earlier in the summer when it got hot. So we're doing some more work on that Just a little bit about, we sometimes, I think the language isn't used properly. We talk about transparency and we say that we're not transparent. All these resolutions, if, the clerk only reads the beginning of it, the title, all the information is down there in the resolutions, okay? Contracts, sometimes they're very long. It's this thick. It's all, the information is in there. I appreciate that people want to know this stuff. We try to be, as quick as we can at the meetings, and we don't want to delve too much into what every single resolution is, but the supervisor has asked that we try to do a little bit more, giving some highlights and stuff like that. So we will try to do that. But please know, it has nothing to do. It's not about transparency. The business of the town is right here. It's all in black and white. And if you think that the meetings here are sort of rubber stamped, I encourage you to look at one of the Town of Colonies board meetings, okay? I've been to their meetings. It's kind of awful, frankly. So if you want to really see what a rubber stamp looks like, look at the Town of Colonies board meetings.
You hanging out in Colony?
A lot of places.
Spend your spare time.
Many things they have to do. Anyway, sorry.
Okay.
We
All
gotta
right.
get you a hobby, Bill.
I got a lot of things.
It's too many meetings. We got a second.
We have a second.
Will
Call
the
the
clerk
roll.
please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
Supervisor Cassidy Dorian.
Yes.
5 ayes.
Resolution passes on to 2025-235, sponsored by Supervisor Cassidy Dorian.
A resolution authorizing certain budgetary modifications and interfund transfers.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on this? I don't think there's anything too exciting. This is a pretty much run-of-the-mill one that we do every month because there's always a little bit of shuffling, sometimes within the same budget. Sometimes we talked a little bit about contingency funds in our budget workshops. Sometimes we have to pull those in. We had, actually, in this past month, we had our highway superintendent who got much more for, I think it was a dump truck. Was it a dump truck? Than he had anticipated. And so we could buy a piece of equipment that we were going to try to buy next year with the money that we got from the surplus. So little things like that. We have shifts to make, but it's all outlined in the packet. If you have questions, you can definitely reach out. Did I get a second or did I start talking again?
We have a
Okay,
second.
I did. All right. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
Supervisor Cassidy Dorian.
Yes.
5 ayes.
The resolution passes on to 2025-236, sponsored by Councilmember Moskowitz.
A resolution awarding a contract for cleanup of the former transfer station site.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on this?
This is to award a contract to clean up the former transfer station site to make it safer. I believe it entails taking down the building that's there.
Yeah, they're gonna move it. I think somebody's taking it. I forgot. Ray, are you taking that? No, somebody is. The trailer. We actually haven't found a home for that little building. I don't know what to do with it. We could try to surplus it. Would somebody come and pick it up? I don't know what to do with that building.
Build is Colony in here.
Maybe. I don't think so.
Company wants the building.
Well, a lot
but
of it is too, is I think there's that wall there. There's a big concrete wall that we're gonna be.
there
taking down.
is general cleanup, bringing some dirt in. Yeah. And to just make it look a little cleaner and less weird. I think we can reuse a lot of it too, but there's some junk. So they're gonna get rid of the junk and then pull in some dirt just to make it safer. But if in fact something happens and we want to reopen it, it's still gonna be zoned as a landfill / transfer station. So it'll be kind of on pause, but in a safe way.
The work will definitely increase curb appeal as you pull into one of our many parks.
Excellent. Good. Okay. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
Supervisor Cassidy Dorian.
Yes.
5 ayes.
Resolution passes. On to 2025-237, sponsored by Councilmember Moskowitz.
A resolution authorizing the installation of 3 slide gates at the wastewater treatment plant.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on this? This is for the actual process. It's not like the gates on the outside of the building. It's for like the, like some cleaner process that they do, right? I'm pretty sure.
Channel
It's the,
something.
yeah.
It's a channeling of sorts.
I
We-
just remember that from the finance.
Well, because
or-
I actually thought it was the security gate thing that we had talked about, but that's
No.
not what this is. This is like a totally separate thing that needed to be fixed on there. It's actually kind of similar because the river water is not looking that great either.
We
Okay,
did obtain 2 quotes, so it is in compliance with our town purchasing policy.
fabulous. Any more discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
Supervisor Cassidy Dorian.
Yes,
5 ayes.
the resolution passes 2025-238, sponsored by Councilmember McPartlin.
A resolution permanently appointing a grounds worker in the Parks Department.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
This is just a standard resolution. You'll see these often for people in the town that come to work for us that complete their probationary period and then they're become permanent employees.
Great. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
Supervisor Cassidy Dorian.
I'm going to abstain because I happen to be related to the person being permanently appointed.
4 ayes.
All right, resolution passes on to 2025-239, sponsored by Councilmember McPartlin.
A resolution authorizing the purchase of replacement parts for the repair of a plow truck used in the town's highway department.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
This is just in the nick of time, I think, right?
As it says, yeah, this is just for parts for a plow truck. It's over the threshold for the superintendent of highway. He's got a threshold of monies that he can spend up to. When it gets to a certain level, then it has to come to the board. So that's why that's here.
All right. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
Supervisor Cassidy Dorian.
Yes.
5 ayes.
Resolution passes 2025-240, sponsored by Supervisor Cassidy Dorian.
A resolution authorizing the supervisor to execute any and all necessary documents for accepting grant monies from the state and municipal facilities grant program for improvements for town facilities.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
This is the SEC funds, correct? Yes. So this is the baseball upgrades that I had mentioned. It's just allowing me to fill out the documentation to make sure we have the line items and they're approved by Ways and Means before we start any work. Any other discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
Supervisor Cassidy Dorian.
Yes.
5 ayes.
On to 2025-242, sponsored by Councilmember McPartlin.
A resolution authorizing the purchase of basketball hoops for use at Avon, Crest Park, and Blatnick Park.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Any discussion on this?
Well, we talked about it in my committee report. You talked about it. I think everybody knows what this one's for.
I don't even play basketball, but it looks so nice. They look Avon Crest looks so much better. All right. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
Supervisor Cassidy Dorian.
Yes.
5 ayes.
The resolution passes on to 2025-243, sponsored by Councilmember Moskowitz.
A resolution accepting a water main on Aqueduct Road from Rivers Ledge.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on this?
This resolution allows us to accept the water main that was placed during construction of the apartments down on the river. The town does have a certification from an engineer that it was suitable for us to accept. And so it's just the formal process for us to take on this new water main.
Did you
Great.
look at the name of the engineer?
I did.
Any other discussion? Will the clerk please?
Just a little
okay.
point of note about the water. Somebody spoke about aqueduct water. And so our water system is very tied into the city of Schenectady water. We actually share facilities and our water gets blended sometimes, well, not sometimes, gets blended with them in certain sections of the town. Aqueduct Road. I'm not certain about that area, but I do know that there's a water main that goes down Aqueduct Road, because here it is, we're discussing it right now, that does connect with the city of Schenectady.
Any other discussion?
This is different than Mohawk Harbor, of course, but something similar is gonna have to be done there.
They would have to put mains
They would
in
have-
as a
yeah.
part of I would assume as a part of their projects. Yeah, and then we would accept them. as
We would
a
have to accept them at
anyway.
the end.
Okay. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
Supervisor Cassidy Dorian.
Yes.
5 ayes.
The resolution passes. And at this time, I am going to make a motion to move into executive session. That's pursuant to Public Officers Law, Section 105, subsection F, to discuss medical information for a particular person or persons. At the close of the executive session, we will not take up any additional town business. May I have a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Or no, wait, do we call the roll for that? Or is all in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So thank you, everybody, for coming and participating.